Hut 10, Hut Private. This is the War on Comics. I'm Colin.
I'm Omar.
We're getting into Volume 3 of Swamp Thing. I'm not sure exactly what the Southern Gothic arc is, but I think we're vaguely in it.
It seems like it starts at the end of the two-issue run.
I was shocked. This is also spoilers. Not really. Where Constantine first shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just didn't put together like, oh yes, Alan Moore fucking creates John Constantine Hellblazer.
Wow.
First appearance is in this Swamp Thing run, which is, I guess you just kind of take Constantine for granted.
Yeah.
This is why we're never going to get good comics again. Not to be a dick, but like, you know what I mean? Like in the superhero comics.
Yeah.
We're never getting, this has been my like argument, pitch, whatever. The way I see things is these guys gave too much for these companies. You come up with a really cool character design idea. You're just cooking, trying to figure out a way to get this bigger story going. You introduce a guy, that guy who you come up with on fucking paper becomes a Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah, major.
You get nothing. They keep making this character. They keep giving him stuff, and it's not like I'm against that. I think Constantine's an awesome character.
Yeah,
I think he rules. But like, why is anyone, knowing what they know now, gonna cook that hot to give it away to a company?
I think, could it have been that a young, scrappy Alan Moore was just making the story interesting for himself?
That's the whole thing. They're just trying to cook. They're just trying to work, and like,
and the companies like they
cannot let it go. Cannot let it go. And it's like, yeah, you think of Alan Moore getting abused by DC. It's like you're like, you're thinking Watchmen. You're thinking, various movies.
V for Vendetta too, right? Or
that wasn't DC at least, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they obviously that he's been raided, pilfered from, etc. But like, there's so much that you can go down this laundry list of things that he's been, companies have gotten in his pockets and taken out of.
Right.
And forget that there's a friggin' Constantine, the character that shows up in Justice League Unlimited, cartoons, animated versions, action figures.
I was gonna say the toys. I had a Constantine toy when I was growing up. And you bringing that up, actually, it kind of reminds me of like the Jodorowsky treatment.
Mm-hmm.
How they took Dune. They took there's two of the Dune Bibles that they made, him and Mobius and all the rest of the gang. The Warner people took a meeting with him. They said, we'll review this book.
Right.
Basically told him to fuck off. And all of a sudden they're making these movies that are extremely inspired by this.
Beat with the designs and Alien and all that.
And just these magicians, both of them, right? They call themselves magicians. It's just like they are just alchemizing these ideas and making our experience better out here. But the corporate fucking shills, they're looking for a quick way to make a buck. And we, unfortunately, are at the other end of that.
Yeah, and that's why I think now you get like, here's Iron Man, but she's a girl. Here's Hulk, but he's purple.
Right.
And it's like, I'll write for you guys. I'll write your stories, but I'm not giving you shit.
I think that's true.
I think maybe even like I'll give you good storylines, but I'm not giving you new characters.
Yeah,
and so sad. We're like kind of treading water. I can't, the last couple characters, and granted, this is someone that's kind of out of the loop. So, you big two heads, feel free to, check me if I'm wrong. But it's like Gwenpool was a big one. And that's like two characters mashed together. And there was Ms. Marvel, which was like, we're taught that's a long time ago that happened. But it was also kind of like, she's a mutant and she stretches just like Reed Richards. And she has the same name. That's his legacy character.
And
it's like
arguably diluting the two originals into kind of like they lose their potency. But is that like, is it because of the time? Like, do they have to kind of like, well, now we gotta pull these two out of a hat, morph them, and then maybe the
Yeah,
new
well,
kids?
if you're hiring me to play in your sandbox, I'm going to play in your sandbox. But
Right.
given that I know what the fuck you did to John Constantine, what the fuck you did to Deadpool, like, well, I'm sure like Liefeld's doing good and everything.
Yeah.
But what he gave those guys, and they maybe even we can talk till we're blue in the face about who really made the character in terms of like what writer arcs they've translated into the larger pop culture figure of Deadpool we know. Besides the point, I gave you fucking Deadpool. I get fucking nothing. No one writing for the big two now is going to give them, they're going to give you Joker's new girlfriend, is what you're going to get. You're going to get Joker's new girlfriend. Her power is being Joker's new girlfriend.
Now I wonder what Bruce Timm thinks of. I mean,
yeah,
what does he think of that?
I don't know. I guess there's something a little bit less offensive about I'm going to draw for a cartoon and probably get ripped off, because at least the guys who did He-Man, it's like understood in a sense that they're not getting royalties off of every skunk whore that sells forever, or like I don't know, you draw 101 Dalmatians, you work on the character design staff of that. You're not necessarily, it's just like understood you're part of that process. And there's a whole lot of there's writers and stuff, so at least that was like for a large production in terms of like it was a kid's product,
right?
And then it kind of got turned into a comic. Whereas if I'm just fucking hitting monthly deadlines, and I'm giving you goddamn gold, and you're stealing it from me, and it like gets wildly and out of control.
I mean, Jack Kirby treatment, it just like evokes all these people. Because I mean, didn't Neil Adams also make some characters? And they
Ra's al Ghul for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And beyond that, I can't say for certain, but that's enough.
Is it a fucking rite of passage? And like, not that it's a right. It's just it just seems like the treatment of the creative bone marrow of comics and just all of pop culture. Because like speaking on Rob Liefeld, and I've been listening to a lot of his podcasts. In every 3 episodes, he'll talk about how comics has made pop culture, and he's fucking convinced me that a lot of our actual media came and stemmed from like the guys that came before Jack Kirby, even all these guys, they created something in a time when there was neck and neck. There was movies coming out and phonographs and all that kind of stuff,
dime store novels, pulp, etc.
All those kind of guys, and they're lost to the ages. But in a time when we can literally trace back, like I think of Jack Kirby a lot, and when I'm reading comics, because it's just he inspired everybody, and he got arguably
shafted the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely.
In comparison to what he created, for sure.
Right. And so where does that leave us as like...
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument would be like Hickman is Walking Dead, right?
Yeah. What's his name? Kirkman. But the artist also kind of got screwed on that.
Right, but I mean that's, I guess, like Walking Dead I think is the new dream where or Invincible or The Boys, where you're a creator, you own the product, you get a piece of what comes after it with adaptation, which is cool. Obviously that's better, but the Invincible guys aren't interacting with Batman and Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
it's the access to the toy box and the creating of new toys that I think made the prime era of comics so engaging.
Yes.
And I think it's kind of the post-image breaking of the industry ultimately, where creators in rightfully so, decided no. If I'm going to give you a character, I'm gonna own the characters that I create, which is awesome, great. But the downside is they don't get to play around with in the toy box.
And this is the stuff that we all grew up on.
Yes, is the big old toy box. And so for writers who get called upon to get into the toy box, again, they're never giving you a John Constantine again. We're never getting that again. In terms of a character that's playing around with other characters, it's not happening again.
And I think rightly so.
Sadly, and I think it could be solved. I think if the company said, write that stuff, we'll give you a percentage if it gets adapted. They get these ironclad contracts that actually say, yeah, create new fucking characters for us to play with, because this has sucked for a long time. If they just admit where they're at, or they're like, hey, we can't just steal from people anymore who are trying to tell cool stories. We have to compensate them. And if they did that, then I think we would get a lot more Deadpools and a lot more Constantines and a lot more of these kind of creations that come about within the toy box. But given that, I think if they admit that they owe someone who creates a new character something, if there's excitement around that character and that character gets adapted, then they kind of have to admit that like their whole empire is built on fraud or lies or stealing or thievery, and it's a tale as old as time. It's like that's what the guys who made Superman were fighting for, and so on and so forth. And like it's hard fought to get people's names credited to them.
Even you think of Batman with Bob Kane and like the actual it is in everything. It stains all of it.
Exactly. And so it could be solved, but then you have, because there's been, I think this is just like its own issue now, us talking. I think because it's been decades long now of this kind of hobbled industry, that exists either on an independent level as a workshop for pitching pilots to streaming services,
which we argue that a lot,
or on the big two level, just a sort of, I don't know, maybe a testing ground for story arcs, but definitely not like a thriving medium. The bottom line is there's no money to pay really good people. And when someone does get good, like I said, they're not going to give you their best shit unless you have a really fucking good contract. And I don't even know if these contracts get honored at this point. Like if I got a great idea and DC's like, what's your ideas? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not giving it to them.
I'm not going to say shit.
Hell no. And they say, here's the contract that says we will never steal your idea. I'm like, that's what the contract says. But I know that I don't have WB money, even if I am good and independent and a professional.
They don't have to honor that if they don't want to.
And that's if you have your wits about you. I think even in this solution that I'm posing, where they just give people like a percentage of the character they create, then they would create more. Even in that fantasy scenario, I don't see us getting top level comedy or top level comics, and we don't have the really talented people don't like dream about drawing for DC and Marvel anymore.
True.
And nor should they. Like it's just this sort of empty shell now. And it's because of the way they fucking treated people who really were top level talents. They are reaping what they sowed at this point.
Right. The what's that called? Like a post-capitalist of it all. Like that it's just become a zombie version of itself. And we brought up Image, and Image is rad. I think that what their philosophy and ethos is a good thing. But like you say, we aren't getting to see a new like reinvigoration of like those archetypes.
Right. And again, I think the eyes just aren't on the medium because of the decades of fuckery.
Yeah.
And so it's like the variant covers are banging. I don't know. Maybe we're just shitheads. I'm gonna read
if you know, like,
I'm gonna read a fucking absolute Batman and be like, oh, never mind, I was wrong.
have you dug into them?
No.
Yeah, I have. I also haven't dug into them at all. And like my little brother, I think he does have the finger on the pulse of what's cool in the big two right now. But I am so fucking jaded that I don't want to try.
So maybe we're not the ones to spread this message. But regardless, we're not. This is the good times right here.
Yes.
This is our own little swamp where we can feel good about high quality art. You like this one?
I've loved this one, man.
They're getting better, right?
Oh, this is on the second book. It's like, where's he going with this? Why is he taking it so far?
Why are we bringing pogo characters?
Where did we go? And then in starting with Fish Story, holy shit, I honestly, I had never given a fuck about Swamp Thing before.
Right.
This made him one of my like top 10 characters now.
It's such a good run. So let's crack into this thing.
Yeah.
We? Okay.
Boom.
Kind of a rant, huh?
I love that.
Sounds about right. Okay. Volume 3. This is my favorite intro we've gotten. Old Bette himself comes in and sort of gives the behind the scenes. Yeah, I really appreciated this foreword.
I do enjoy more on when you get the creators waxing on their work.
Rather than just someone saying, "Oh, this is a really good comic." Like, it's a little drier because he's just like, "Well, I wasn't able to hit this deadline because I was working on this," and you get kind of lost in that minutia. But I think it stuck with me in terms of him bringing up like Constantine being based on Sting and all that kind of stuff.
That was
so cool. Such good insight. And him saying that all of these like all this multimedia stuff they were using for the Nuke Face, right?
Yeah, Nuke
was
Face
all
peepers.
Built off of like, clippings that he had around. And like, this is so goddamn good. This is why, it's an Alan Moore comic and he's like, my star and everything. But man, is Bette just like earning his place on the right next to my man here, because this is probably my favorite cover, and there hasn't been a bad cover that we've had so far. This is so fucking cool. And I think the premise is, and this kind of, I had brought this up last volume, this idea of intersectionality. This is like some real fucking Sigma male type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Dude, he's just like
he is the Sigma.
Ultimate. Kind of baddie fucking sleeping next to him, but he's like, this is what it looks like when your eyes are on the grind set, bro.
That's right.
You're focused. Intersectionality. It's not just to me this idea of environmentalism. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's like the underlying 3 times kind of theme, but we're talking about a lot of things in Reagan's 80s. It's just in this 2-issue arc, you have
Nuke Face.
This town that's been abandoned because it was like a coal mining town, or there's some leak in the mines, and nuclear waste, and they have to abandon the town ultimately. This guy's left behind. He's got a taste for the nuclear waste. And there's kind of, I'm trying to think of a direct correlation, and I kind of like the idea, the AIDS crisis kind of comes to mind. And I'll give you my thoughts as the story goes on. But you also have this religious couple who are like the kind of like, I don't know, the good guy, good girl, just straight Americans, and they're not really like chided necessarily. It's not like they are there to be made an example of. It's not like edgy atheist stuff or anything.
Right.
But I think they are there to sort of show, I guess, that intersection, like I said, of how the religion fits in with these economic and ecological issues. Here's our man yeah, kind of a vegetarian shirt on.
Yeah, we are not cows.
And so, yeah, my man takes a sip of the old nuke juice. He starts melting. Swamp Thing goes to this the nuke world, or this kind of like abandoned place while he's in the greening.
Death Town.
Yeah, and he's like just obviously ravaged by seeing the ecological impact. Um, as Nuke Face leaves his victim. Just terrific art. This is like, yeah, just beautiful fucking metalhead shit. um, you know, this lady comes in, the guy who,
the wife, right?
Yeah, or of the hobo that got nuked.
Yeah.
And of course, once Nuke Face meets our plant monster, it's all over for him. Like,
yeah,
which is obviously underlining the powers of the effects of radiation on the environment and all that. It's a real basic anti nuclear waste kind of story here, but like, again, hear me out. The AIDS crisis is in full swing. Here's a guy who touches another creature, and like just exposure to him causes
decimates this dude.
Death. Like,
tough ass.
Again, I'm not like, I don't think a lot of this stuff is like a one-to-one allegory or anything, but I think that it all kind of is playing with each other, and
it's like in the conversation, like a little
yeah,
bit.
like this lady is like, man, I kicked that guy out, like the hobo guy, because he couldn't make rent or whatever. So it's like the economy is coming into play too, and like, this landlord ultimately led to the death of this person.
And then the wife. So this guy is sort of responsible with a cover up of of like where they were dumping the nuclear waste.
Right.
And his wife, unbeknownst to her, she just thinks they're traveling the countryside, and she's pregnant.
Right.
She interacts with Nuke Face, and she's this like Christian lady. She's doing like an actual good deed.
Right.
But in this moment, they realize, the search party and everything, that she's been exposed to that nuclear.
And that's like, Christ walked with the lepers.
Right.
And like, again, to kind of bring it back to the like AIDS crisis, it's like doctors who worked with them, like there's this like fear, around like exposure, because at the time there was, it was intentionally underfunded by old dickhead Reagan. Horrible face.
We got some pretty gnar.
So yeah, they're all kind of like confused. They don't know what to do. This premise of like touch keeps coming up, right? And so again, I think the master stroke of these stories, especially as they sort of become larger and more intertwined, is this idea that it's not just like environmentalism alone. Here in the story, you have class, you have religion, you have disease, you have human touch. All of this stuff sort of comes together. These little fuckhead kids, great fuckhead
smoking
kids,
cigs,
and and ultimately, it's the economics that ravaged that town to begin with. I think that's all handled pretty well, especially for such an old comic. Like, it's aged really. I don't know. I think it's just handled tastefully enough. And I think because it's not necessarily single note, they don't necessarily have to do a great job fleshing out these ideas. They can kind of go rapid fire and leave it for you to figure out.
I love this fucking part.
Yeah, it's a good page. Turn heads up, America. Here I come.
And then it just tells you about all the cover-ups and all like that.
Yeah, it's like, man, such a good use of multimedia. It all plays off of that cover, And I don't know, Swamp Thing is almost not relevant in the story. Like, it's just not. He's there to show how dangerous the nuclear waste is, because as soon as they touches them, He's
I guess he's literally the stand-in for nature versus the like nuclear energy
right.
kind of
And
thing.
let's see. And here's our very first appearance, ladies and gentlemen, of John Constantine. And
So cool.
I think the set talks about this. He's kind of bummed that Rick Veitch is the fill-in artist
On this one,
number 37. For all you key collectors out there, keep an eye out for Swamp Thing 37 as John Constantine is going to make an appearance in the Justice League Dark Show. Prices on this are only going to rise. I don't know. I'm making that.
Well, we also get like a little Groot-esque
So
like
good.
Swamp Thing.
Yes, because Swamp Thing after the nukening is regrowing. So good, straight like Quadrophenia style.
Rick Veitch didn't do a bad job here, man.
No, Rockin' Rick Veitch does not disappoint. And like, yeah, the Swamp Thing growing back is great. We're going. Constantine's kind of doing his rounds, talking to all the different people. Like here's our Lovecraft Cthulhu guy. The other chick I think was like the kind of tripper girl, all kind of being haunted by visions of this apocalypse. Our little scornful nun there doing the same thing. Come on. That's you think I'm above saying a little plant ball is adorable? You're wrong. That's about as cute as this book gets.
It's so fucking. It's amazing.
And this is, I don't know, I'm really a sucker for these kind of stories. Not that there's much of a story per se here.
This was horrifying.
Yes.
What this leads to is...
basically, you kind of see that things kind of across the world are going freaky. Constantine kind of introduces his bargain to Swamp Thing. And this is such a just good writing or a good structure or something, because he's like, you help me out, I'll tell you more about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you not completely enthralled by that? And
of course, I mean, he has to. He feels it.
And we readers get to learn more. It's like, I don't know, just again, as a story structure, it's so strong.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're kind of bouncing around to all the different figures. We're seeing all this creepy stuff. This is so good. This girl's like drawing, the creature disappears, and then page turner, Waza! He's up in her closet though.
Man, he's got an itch he can't scratch there.
So good. There's some like proto Clive Barker shit, or just contemporaries of it. Like, I don't know. I eat this stuff up. When I was a kid in the 90s, at least, I think I got to experience like the after effects of all of this kind of edgelordism, early edgelordism. So
is that an Alan Moore, by the way?
Oh yeah, it's got to be, right.
And Mr. X, I think the Los Bros shout out.
Wow, that's a deep cut. I like that though. I'm with it.
So which I guess I wanted to ask you at the end, but right now we're facing probably one of my favorite issues that we've gone so far. What would you say was like the one that really solidified Swamp Thing for you?
For me, it's still the last issue of the last volume.
Yeah, that one was
for solid. Volume 2. When she eats the yam, the Swamp Thing yam, and trips out for an issue, and they feel like a oneness for the universe. Like that's when I'm in. Yeah. And then with that like high watermark, every one of these arcs is amazing, and there's like kind of mini arcs within the arcs, you know. They're not spending so much time like pulling the thread and trying to like trying to like stretch out the little ideas they have. They're just like, all right, let's do some fucking water vampires. Go. Go.
Underwater vampires.
We did the nuclear guy. We are introduced, this like soon to be iconic character from Comix. Now we're going to give you just some spook happenings underwater. And then we're going to deal with some, built on a cursed burial ground site story. It's like, why like just give me the hits, man.
Yeah.
Move your story along. Come up with ideas. This is just an overabundance of like creativity and a team just firing on all cylinders and going forth, and it's just like a delight to read. There's like huge Stephen King vibes here. I don't know. I can't really read like a horror story with adolescence and not feel some Stephen King in it. But yeah, these little.
I guess that's why I like this. Like thinking like this could be a Stephen King, and not that I'm a huge Stephen King fan, but just the formula of it, it feels like they kind of flipped it on its head.
For sure. And like, like this is craft right here.
Yeah.
The kids are all getting out. You see them like moving out, and then you just see this kid kind of go to white, and you realize he's getting fucking leached. And the kids kind of keep it to themselves because they don't want to get in trouble, which is sort of a commentary on, I guess, just that experience of being a little kid, and trying to
just that fear.
Yeah, you'll let that kid you'll let your friend
fucking die
just to not get in trouble. This is so like Jay Lee right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like was Jay Lee around at this time?
Not to my
Damn,
knowledge,
dude.
but yeah, that's
sure.
right there. All there. So yeah, this is Constantine kind of showing Swamp Thing the teleportation gimmick, which again, this is like just fun structurally to like see a character learn their powers, and from a creative perspective, like I'm going to give this kind of throwaway scary swamp monster like some real superpowers.
Yeah.
Again, the things a writer will do then that they probably aren't going to see a lot of anymore. So Swamp Thing kind of teleports to this new world here, or the land where the vampire stuff is taking place.
Is it like Chicago or something?
Something like that. Abby's getting consoled, and Constantine keeps digging into his, tracing the apocalypse, I guess, or anticipating this happening. You still have your rock and roll shirt? Or are you not really into rock and roll anymore?
No, I need to re-up.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you just wore it too many times.
Yeah.
Your shirt that just says
rock and roll
music notes on it.
Non-specific.
Yeah, you're just a fan. You're just a fan of the guitar.
Well, it's all rock and roll to me.
You're a big Bill Haley fan. Yeah. So this is like just again very Clive Barker, like grotesque, morbidly obese swamp woman.
This whole sequence is just so. It made my skin crawl. It was.
And I think this predates like Lost Boys, which was a kind of that like retell the sort of 80s reimagining of the vampires and these and yeah, I don't know if I've seen like an underwater vampire movie.
I have never seen that.
And it's such a good idea. The leeches, it's like right there.
It makes sense to me.
Absolutely. And I want to say, yeah, I forgot he explains to them how these kind of vampires exist underwater. Basically, this town was flooded, right?
Yes.
And, I don't know, flooded plus whatever, radiation or corpses floating up, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
We get to the vampires, which I'll bring up again. It kind of crosses into that intersectionality of like, it's what happens when an old town is abandoned, is forgotten, is buried. It's like new things arise from it. Great silhouettes. God, the art's so good.
Cool, man.
Yeah, these are all very I still have that tattoo.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure he's out there. And yeah, like I don't know. I appreciate that they give them like space for these stories. Like they're not confined to just one issue. They'll stretch it out a little. They'll get you two, but like two seems to be the sweet spot. You get to like explore all the ideas that this has to offer while also not dragging it.
Yeah, like I feel like some of these stories, like especially the one we'll see next, which is the werewolf one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could have stretched it out, but
Yeah.
I think that they gave you enough of the story.
This is a big enough one. I mean, this feels like such a movie,
absolutely.
It's so cinematic, and Jesus, stuff looks terrific. And this whole like vampire thing. It's like again of sort of self-contained comic, terrific visual, could all be its own autonomous thing, but this is happening while Swamp Thing is like learning his powers, and you're sort of seeing him like kind of flex his new knowledge that he's learning from Constantine. So kind of it's an economic storytelling, because to show that Swamp Thing is gaining his powers, you have to put him up against something. Why not put him up against like something very interesting, which is these crazy monsters?
Look at that, man!
So cool, man. I need Guillermo del Toro to do this.
We need this one, yeah.
We need him.
A Guillermo del Toro Swamp Thing would be my hit of the summer, man.
And he so hard,
gnarly.
Yeah, it's like you want to show what this plant elemental can really do. It's like, watch him like kind of unflood them or redirect the flow so that they're exposed to the sunlight. It's
I guess I remember the whole mechanic behind the vampires was that they had put themselves in ice boxes,
right,
which were
protecting them from the sunlight.
Yeah, and then once the town flooded and it became like still water, there wasn't enough oxygen to kill them. This dude was thinking.
Yeah, for a 2-issue arc of some characters that we're never seeing again because they get turned to bone here, and like great, terrific like illustration work. Like this is Watchmen right here all the way.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Dr. Manhattan doing some disintegrating and redisintegrating.
Yeah,
whatever. Either way, it looks terrific.
Constantine
kind of puts them on another fetch quest. And we're off to this is an odd one. This one is a self-contained issue.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Kind of maybe could have used a little some of that like extra stuff, because it is just kind of like women have it hard, right?
Yeah, it is kind of like, I wish there was more of like women authorship on this one, and we probably wouldn't have gotten.
Love that wolf there.
That one's
because it's like they're playing with like, okay, the woman's cycle is kind of tuned up to the moon.
Yeah.
So like, when she's has her period, she turns into a wolf. It's a little
yeah.
And like they kind of go back to this stigma that existed with the indigenous people, where the women with their periods would go off. And I don't know, maybe at this time that the comic was written, it was just like, look, we're talking about women's periods in a comic book that's in the same world as like Batman, like credit where credit's due.
Which was probably not even like brought up ever.
Right. I mean, and I could complain about this, but it's like, what a good wolf. Yeah. What a great illustration. I think the story is a little bit of a filler issue, but
it's a little janky.
Yes, but you can't argue with just crossing off your list of like, all right, we did vampires, we did we did a nuclear mutant. What's next? Werewolf. Okay, cross it off. How do we make it interesting to it?
And kind of like
give it a feminist kind of story. And I suppose there's like there's the porno shop that she breaks through. So it's like they're addressing like feminism on different levels. The idea of marriage and I don't know, whatever porno is. They're trying to go broad with it, but it is sort of a little I don't know, less than satisfying. I don't think this is anyone's favorite Swamp Thing issue. Yeah. And she ultimately impales herself on this display of kitchenware, which is, of course, like talking about the domesticity of women and how they've been put in our culture. And, Swamp Thing's just like kind of there again.
Yeah.
He's not really, this isn't really him, his showcase. He's just like, jaw feel. Anyways, put you down here. And that's that one. Oh, and then back to another fetch quest from old Constantine.
Yeah.
And this is this the
James Marshall Hendricks, but I just wanted to point out we get the Hendricks reference and stuff.
And I want to say this is so the conceit here is that they're filming on a plantation. They're filming like a soap opera on a plantation, and you're sort of seeing Hollywood and the South and the sort of legacy of slavery in the South sort of like interact with each other. And I'll say it again, this is like to me a really good version of this intersectionality where class and race and the South and the coastal elites are all kind of like playing around with each other, and just such a good layout. All this kind of like uh, New Orleans kind of like voodoo imagery. Maybe it's a little like hacky, but it's like so effective.
I actually liked how they had it just playing in the background with it, because I do think that it could have been hokey.
And yeah, and
this part was cool.
A lot of the what do you call it? The staff working on the show were like descendants of the original slaves that worked there, and so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess you sort of see how recent this great blight on American history is still, even in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, feels like a very contemporary comic still. So I don't know. We're kind of bound by these horrors of the past here. And this art kind of explores that, and inevitably, as it goes on, we're in this sort of horrific scene, because that's, I think, kind of the natural outcome of having these sort of horrific atrocities of the past.
It's like the haunting.
Yeah, you're never really out of it. And here to see, I think the original guy who died, or was murdered, coming back, and yeah, it's sort of basically like this whole production is just descends into chaos, kind of, right?
Just haunted.
Yeah, we got voodoo zombies, like such good artwork.
I really like that zombie, and I feel like Bette really liked him too, because I think
keeps bringing it in. And yeah, we kind of, I guess the premise of sorts is these, this the white plantation owner lynched one of the slaves, or burned him alive.
He flayed his skin.
Oh my God!
It was so fucked,
so horrific. And ultimately, these actors who are kind of playing their parts are sort of find themselves repeating these same kind of these same character roles.
It kind of gave to me the like Shining vibes.
Where,
you are literally repeating the cycles, like you said, and it's like a trance that these people are in.
Except we're adding zombies to this. And everyone sort of descends into madness as it goes on, and
becomes a fireball swamp thing.
I will not allow this evil to continue. Even as like far out as we are, we still get some like a little dose of like superhero trope, saying something tough, setting everyone on fire. And that's kind of all they figure out to do, is to just burn the whole fucking thing down, and that's, well, I don't know. I'll let you know if I come up with something better. But in terms of this built on top of really shoddy infrastructure, seems like a reasonable solution to me. And of course, Swamp Thing goes up in flames and comes back, but this actor guy is still flayed alive.
I couldn't really understand. Is it in his head still?
Yeah, I guess,
because they just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it can be open to interpretation or whatever, but whatever happened, it's not good.
Just mental scarring.
Yes.
And then I really like the Fernandez Bros.
Yes.
I feel like that's another nod to the Los Bros.
Got to be, right? And so one of the zombies just gets a job working at the ticket booth. No reason,
just because.
I think the reason maybe Creepshow exists at this point.
Okay, so I was going to ask you if that comes back.
Yeah, let's just make a little. I mean, the movie Creepshow, maybe just the imagery of it. So there we are, 3 out of 6.
Ah, man,
we have passed the Rubicon.
where does this rank for you in like the Alan Moore scale?
I think it's hindered a little bit by how long it goes on for, which isn't to say it overstays its welcome by any means, but I think the nature of writing just month to month and not really having like a coherent, like, again, Watchmen is the ideal, where it's like, here's my beginning, middle, and end. I don't have to worry about continuity. I get to tell the complete story. From Hell has the same benefit, where it's like, here's everything I want to get out on this one subject. It's so focused, and I think that is like that's the Alan Moore that I find to be like S tier. You know, the top shelf is just him writing his own story. However, I think what makes him an S tier writer instead of just a guy who has written some S tier stories is that he can do month to month and fucking kill. You know, like just not his creation, not in his universe. Like he's playing by the rules. He's playing very generously with continuity. He's playing very generously with hero tropes and like telling a really straightforward comic. It's not like as much shit as he gets for being deconstructed this, deconstructed that. Like he's giving you superhero shit. He's giving you power scaling. He's giving you lore. He's giving you continuity. He's giving you crossovers. Like he's really playing it straight in a sense, but just operating on such a high level. So I don't consider this like my favorite Alan Moore by any means, but I think you can't possibly appreciate the totality of Alan Moore's abilities without reading him slugging it out, putting in work, doing like kind of singular issues that someone else started and that someone else is going to take over. That's like a true testament to his abilities. And in a way, it's like you need to read, I think, his. You ever read Little? I think it's called Lost Girls.
No.
Him just doing porno comics.
Wild.
Yeah, just like Alice in Wonderland, but she's getting railed.
and I'm assuming it still has like his stamp on it.
Yeah, it's just wow. You gotta read him going horny zone. You gotta read him going it's the diversity, and you gotta read his Tom Strong, him doing like PG, like teen appropriate.
Still one of my favorite things we've read.
It's so good.
I'm looking for like the compendium or something, but
I think there's got to be a good omnibus out there or something. Yeah. I mean, I think what makes Alan Moore so engaging to me is the diversity of how he writes. He's not a one-trick pony by any means. So I'm not gonna say that like Swamp Thing is like the definitive work or like a perfect peak Alan Moore or anything, but it's so thrilling to read. And sometimes I think there's value in not having like a transcendent experience in comics. You can just have a cool fucking story about vampire leeches,
and it's
underwater.
Like just as potent. Mm-hmm. It can't like because I do think that like how you're saying that he is speaking the language of superhero archetypes and developing this character like kind of like not course or would you say course correcting like the character's lore?
Well, I think maybe just being very sincere, let's say, in his approach to it, being very earnest, and to say he's playing it by the books, it's like, were you seeing layouts like this?
No,
way. Like even in a post like Frank Miller world, people weren't playing around like this. There's still a lot of craft. I don't think it's something you can sit down with a microscope like you can with a lot of his, like a Watchmen or something, where you're analyzing panel to panel transitions and the color theory and all that. Because I don't know, it's just a different kind of story, but like it's still an insanely high level of craft that we take for granted all this that's going on. And there you could convince me that Bette might be like the most fun artist that Alan Moore has worked with in terms of like what just is cool to look at, like I mean, pull my card when you have something that can really trump it, but like in terms of maybe seeing the writing take a backseat to the visuals, I love seeing Bette at the helm. And so anything that any kind of lack of singular focus, let's say, that is Alan Moore has in the writing end, the art end way makes up for it.
Huge. Yeah.
And so it's just like you don't have to be into the Alan Moore bibliography or think of him as this be a fanboy like I am, to just appreciate some cool fucking proto-edgelord 80s horror.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. I don't know of a better way to put it. So in that regard, it's some of the only Alan Moore stuff that has like that hits on that kind of level.
Yeah.
Though there is more, trust me, as we dive deeper into this catalog, we'll find some pretty grisly imagery.
I'm excited because
Yes.
I'm not one. This isn't like my favorite genre even.
Yeah.
But this is making me more interested in the genre itself.
For sure. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, horror in general, I think, is I've done this speech 100 times. There'll be people who are just like, I don't like horror movies, and you're like, well, you don't like The Shining? Oh, The Shining is good, but that's not horror. That's psychological or supernatural mystery. Okay, you don't like Silence of the Lambs? That's not horror. That's procedural police. And well, you don't like Jaws? Well, Jaws is a blockbuster. Like everything. The answer is you don't like bad horror.
Right.
The truth is you like most people who have like, unless they're really really like cannot deal with visceral imagery or like whatever. But even if you don't like if there's a whole world of horror film stories, etc., where there's no blood, it's suspense, it's supernatural, it's all these other kind of things. I think people really get locked into horror being one thing, when it's so broad. And like, to me, the best horror is always socio-political. It always has a lot of intersectionality. It always is. The werewolf is never just a werewolf. It is always feminism or whatever it's going to be. Like that. Like, if horror doesn't have a central theme like that, it's just completely, dull. And I think this is a great example of horror that is thoughtful, but also has a fucking crazy bloody werewolf in it, which is my favorite. I love horror that isn't ashamed to be horror, So it's like, this is pitch perfect to my tastes, and I don't know. I'm excited to go along with it. I think I've never read the 6th volume.
Okay.
I read one. I know I got 1 through 5 done, but that was a long time ago, and I'm loving this reread. And shall we see them on future volumes?
Yeah, I think with that we can send them off.
Till then, at ease.
At ease.